Hare Krishna. Let us understand Bhagavad Gita chapter by chapter, section by section. To begin with, let us offer our prayers to our spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, and to the Supreme Lord. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vranda Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today let us understand the summary study of chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. I am reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, written by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Chapter 1 is entitled Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. This chapter has 46 shlokas, and this chapter may be divided into 3 sections. The first section can be entitled as the description of the armies and blowing of the conch shells. The second section is from shloka number 20 to 27. Arjuna now observes the army on the both sides. So that is the second section of the Bhagavad Gita chapter 1. This is now the third section of the Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, Arjuna's reaction and refusal to fight. Shloka number 28 to 26. Arjuna Uvacha Drishtvaimam Svajanam Krishna Yuyutsum Samupastitam Sidanti Mamagatrani Mukham Cha Parishusyati. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Depatuscha sharire me romaharshashcha jayate gandivam samsate hasta tvachaiva paridahyate. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow gandiva is slipping from my hand and my skin is burning. So we can see Arjuna, he was ready to fight. He took up the bow and he was ready to shoot arrows. But when he saw different grades of friends and relatives assembled together in such a fighting spirit, he was overcome by compassion. And then his mouth started drying up, his skin started burning, and then his whole body was trembling, his hair was standing on end, and he was famous archer Gandhi, his bow, it started slipping from his hand. Nacha shaknomi avasthatum brahmateva cha me manaha nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I foresee only evil, O killer of Keshi demon. So here we can see Arjuna, he is addressing Krishna as Keshava. Keshava means one who has killed demons. Krishna did not kill his own relatives. Krishna killed demons. And here Arjuna, he is supposed to kill his own friends and relatives. So indirectly Arjuna is telling, my dear Krishna, you have killed demons, not your relatives. How can you expect me to kill my friends and relatives and live happily? Viparitani. We all like to enjoy life with our friends and relatives. But here Arjuna is telling, if I kill all my friends and relatives and get the kingdom, With whom will I enjoy? It is viparita. So I don't want to gain kingdom by killing my own friends and relatives. Indirectly, Arjuna is expressing his desire not to fight. He wants to refuse from fighting and he wants to go away and beg and live. So he is telling, I am unable to stand any longer. Nacha shaknomi avastatum. Brahmati vacha me manaha. My mind is reeling. O Keshava, you are killer of Keshi demon. You have killed demons, not your relatives. So you don't expect me to kill my relatives. Better now let us go. That is the indirectly Arjuna is expressing his refusal to fight. And he is telling, Nacha shreyonu pashyami hatva svajana mahave nakangshe vijayam Krishna nacha rajyam sukhanicha. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom or happiness. Kim no rajyena govinda kim bhogair jivitena va yesham arthe kamshitam no rajyam bhogan bhoga sukhani cha taime vastita yudhe pranam styaktva dhanani cha acharyaha pitaraha putraha tataiva cha pitamahaha matulaha shvashuraha पौत्राः श्याला संबंधिनस्तथा एतान्न हन्तुमिच्छामि घतोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतो किं नु मही कृते निहत्य धातराश्रान्नः का प्रीति स्यात् जनार्दन. Here Arjuna is now describing, O Govinda, of what avail to us are kingdoms, happiness or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed in this battlefield. So Arjuna is telling all different grades of friends and relatives, they have come and to give their lives. What is the use of all this kingdom when they are all dead and gone? So this is material happiness. Material happiness means having good home, good wife and children, inviting friends and relatives and having different functions, eat nicely, sing nicely, dance nicely. This is material life. So Arjuna is telling Krishna that if all my friends and relatives die, with whom will I enjoy having a big palace and kingdom and power and wealth? So how can I enjoy life without them? So is O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law and all relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, then why should I wish to kill them, though I may survive? O maintainer of all creatures, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. Api trailokya rajyasya heto kim no mahi krite. He is telling, let alone winning this earth, even if you give me all the three worlds, all the heavenly planets to enjoy, I don't find happiness, because if all my friends and relatives are gone, I cannot enjoy without them. So clearly Arjuna refuses to fight. And then he further gives different reasons for his refusal. Papamevashraye dasman hatvaitan atatainaha tasman narha vayam hantum dhartarashran swabandhavan swajanam hi katham hatva sukhina syama madhava. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? So here, Arjuna is telling, Papam eva shraya dasman hatvaitan atatain. Even though Kauravas were aggressors, there are different kinds of aggressors mentioned in the scriptures. One who gives poison to someone is called an aggressor, and killing such aggressors does not incur any sin. Someone who sets fire on someone's house, someone who usurps the property of others, someone who kidnaps wife of someone else, someone who attacks anyone else with deadly weapons, they're all called aggressors. And if they're killed, one does not get any sinful reaction. So the Kauravas, Duryodhana and his party, they insulted Draupadi. They wanted to strip her naked in the open assembly. They wanted to give poison and kill the Pandavas. They wanted to burn them in a palace made of shellac. So we can see the Kauravas were aggressors, and clearly they were to be punished. They deserved to be punished. But even though they were such aggressors, Arjuna, because of his soft-heartedness, he wanted to forgive them and he wanted to go away. And he's telling here, Krishna, you're Madhava. You bring welfare to everyone. You're husband of goddess of fortune. And how are you expecting me to have misfortune by killing my friends and relatives? So in this way, Arjuna is pointing out Krishna, that Krishna, don't encourage me to fight. And then further Arjuna says, Yadyap yetena pashyanti lobhopahata chetasaha kulakshaya kritam dosham mitradrohe cha patakam katham na nyayam asmabihi papadasman nivartitum kulakshaya kritam dosham prapashyadbir janardana. O Janardana, although these men overtaken by greed, they see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends. Why should we, with knowledge of sin, engage in these acts? So clearly Arjuna is trying to explain to Krishna that these people, out of greed for wealth, they're ready even to kill their own friends and relatives. But why should we do such things? We are intelligent, we know what is right, what is wrong. Why should we act in that way? So in that way Arjuna wants to be a good person by not killing. And then further he says, Kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharmaha sanatanaha dharme nashte kulam kritsna madharmo bhibhavantita. With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligious practice. So when different soldiers, thousands and lakhs and crores of soldiers come, when they all die, what will happen to their wives, Kulastriyaha? What will happen to the queens and all the queens married by those kings who die? So Arjuna is telling that when these queens and other wives of the soldiers, they are left like that without any protection by a man, then they will be polluted. And because of such pollution, there will be unwanted progeny. Adharma bhibavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyaha strishu dushtasu varshmeya jayate varna sankaraha. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become corrupt, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. So when there is illicit connection between man and woman, and the children born of such illicit connection, they become very, very troublesome in the society. They are called Varna Sankara population. Sankaro narakaya iva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hi esham lupta pindodaka kriya. When there is an increase of unwanted population, a hellish situation is created both for the family and for the destroyer, for those who destroy the family tradition. In such corrupt families, there is no offering of oblations of food and water to the ancestors. So when the population which takes birth is degraded, they don't follow the scriptural rules and regulations, such as offering oblations of food and water to the ancestors. It's the duty of every householder to offer pinda. Pinda means prasada of Lord Vishnu. When prasada of Lord Vishnu is offered to the ancestors who have departed, they may be suffering because of some sinful reactions in different places. So when they receive this prasada, they get relieved from those sinful reactions. So it's the duty of every householder to offer this pinda to the ancestors on a yearly basis. So if the children in the family, if they're not religious because they're born of illicit connections, then what happens? The ancestors will suffer because they don't receive the prasada, the pinda. And other spiritual practices will not be followed, and there will be a hellish situation created in the society. And so Arjuna is telling, why should we be responsible for all these different degradations in the society? Doshairete kulagnanam varna sankara karakaihi utsadyante jadi dharmaha pula dharmasha shashvataha. Due to the evil deeds of the destroyers of the family tradition, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. So he's telling why should we be a reason for all this degradation. Utsanna kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavati iti anushruma. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by discipling succession that those who destroy family traditions dwell always in hell. And so basing his arguments based on the authorities, telling this is not my opinion, Krishna. I have heard from authorities that those who destroy family tradition, they will dwell in hell. So Arjuna is telling, why should I go to hell by killing all these people assembled here, and why should I be the cause of degradation of family, degradation of Vedic culture, and encouraging Varna Sankara population? Why should I be cause for all such degradations, and why should I suffer in hell in future? So Arjuna is basing his arguments on authoritative based disciplic succession, the knowledge received from authorities, and he is telling Krishna, let us not fight. Aho batam mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam yadrajya sukhalobena antum swajanamudyataha. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. Yadi mam apratikara mashasram shastrapanayah dhartarashtra rane hanyuho tanme kshemataram bhavet. I would consider it better for the sons of Dhritarashtra to kill me unarmed and unresisting rather than fight with them. So it's a rule in the rule of battle that if the opposite side, the opposite party is not having any weapons, he should not be attacked. So but here Arjuna is telling, even if they kill me, even if they attack me unarmed, I am ready, but I don't want to fight. So he is ready to be killed even without any weapons, but he doesn't want to be the reason for all degradations and going to hell in future. So Sanjaya is telling, Sanjaya vacha evam uktvarjuna sankhye rathopastha upavishat visrajam sasharam chapam shoka samvigna manasahan. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. So in this way, this chapter ends here. So we can see that even though Arjuna was initially enthusiastic to fight, after observing the army, how his own friends and relatives were very eager to fight with each other, and he analyzed the situation, and he analyzed, even though the Kauravas, out of greed, they are ready to kill their own family members and friends and relatives, we should not do such sinful activities and degrade the entire society, and let us not go to hell in the future. My dear Krishna, I cannot fight. And he was so soft-hearted that his body started trembling, there was burning of his skin, mind started reeling, his throat got choked up. So Arjuna was a very soft, kind-hearted person, and he wanted to not to be the reason of all these kind of different types of distress for his own self and for others. So this is a good qualification of a person, such a kind-hearted person like Arjuna. He is qualified to receive transcendental knowledge. So we will see what will happen in the next chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.